So let's just start off just really nice and easy with just a gentle rotation from here. So you can just let those arms swing, coming side to side. And just take some nice big breaths as we come in through here. We just want to warm the body up. And we're going to take the arms and circle them through. Shoulders along with that, right? I'm super tight from my classes yesterday, so my shoulders are stiff. Kind of everything's stiff today. So rolling back and through, and then we're just going to reverse that. And as always, if you feel that you need a little bit more time to warm up than what I'm giving you, by all means, take that time. Jump in when you are ready. And we're going to start just swinging the arms back and forth here, across the chest, and open up, across the chest. Again, as big or as small as you want. Take that at your own pace. If it feels really good to hug, please do so. If the swing is good, take that as well. Again, we're just trying to get some blood flowing into the muscles around the joints and get the lubrication in the joint. So again, we'll sweep up and down. And then we're going to do just a little bit of work into the neck area as well. So from here, we'll go ahead and bring that down. We're just going to check our rear view mirror. And we're going to look back over the other shoulder. Coming back again from here. And through here. Then we're just going to come to center. We're going to tilt down and up. Very gently from there. And then in the center, we're going to go ahead and tilt off to the side. So from here, we're not looking for a deep stretch. We're just trying to get a little bit of, like I said, the blood flow into here and warming things up. So we're going to come back and down, and we're just going to roll through. Very gently from there. And lead with the chin as you come all the way back and around. Let's reverse that. Nice. Then we're just going to start with just an easy stretch from here. So bringing one knee up at a time, just seeing if we can touch. And again, you kind of take that at your own pace. Just give it a little pull each time it comes up if you can. Working into the hips just a bit as well. And up that tummy here. Good. Then we're going to add the rotation. I know we had a little bit earlier, but this is a little bit deeper, of course. Ideally, like physics in a vacuum, right? When everything's in a vacuum, it works perfectly. Yet in the real world, it's not quite the same. Let's go 4 more. We have 4, 3, 2, bring that back out, and we're just going to swing the leg forward and back. Again, it doesn't need to be big. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. Nice. Just let her go. Let those arms go wherever you want them to go. And then let's circle them around. So coming through here, any way that you want that to be. Again, that can also just be up through the hip, right? So you can take that up and just kind of hula around as you go through there. That is a personal preference. Might have to do with how your balance feels for the day. We're going to reverse and come back. Coming through here. And again. And let's go just 2 more here. Good. And then we're going to start sweeping the other leg. Coming forward and back, and forward and back. And again, you can stay here as long as you like. So if you're done and you're like, I think I need a little more, I'm not really that warm, do a few more. And then again, coming to this side again, we are going to go ahead and come back and work through that hip, which can be coming up and around, or it can just be shifting the hip up and through. We just want that warm. Reversing from here. And then we'll bring that down. So we're coming in, we're just going to put the hands slightly on the knees from here, and we're going to circle around. It reminds me of high school. Coming through from here. And then we're going to go back the other direction. Coming back into here. So we're kind of warming up the ankles a little bit with the outside of the feet, using your toes there as well. And then we're just going to come forward and back and forward and back. And let's take one breath up here. Nice, easy reach. And let's exhale, see if we can touch our toes. So we're going to come down from here and reach up. We're going to do 10 of them. Down from here and reach. Down. If the reach is a bit much, just touch the toes if you can. If you can't, touch your knees, right? I believe we have 4 left. And our last one here. So bringing that back up. We'll go ahead and relax that back down. So we're going to grab our band, and we're going to start off here with just real nice, easy overhead pulls here. So we're going to come into center. We can stand on that band, and we're going to start from here and push them overhead. So coming up with just an overhead press. So if that is a bit much when you stand with both legs, just take one foot out, press that up. That should give you just a little bit more give. Coming up and overhead. Now, if you have dumbbells with that as well, you can always use dumbbells instead of the band. And as you're coming up from here, we again are thinking about making sure that we're strong through the midsection. We don't want to let that pelvis rock forward and the butt stick out. But we also don't want to be tucked way under. We want to be just nice and strong and tall. Let's go 4 more here. We have 4 and 3. Let's go 2. And our last one. Coming back to center from here. So the same thing, again, if standing with both of them, of course I picked a band that maybe is a little heavier than I should have. I'm going to start from the center from here and roll back, and we're going to take this into the lateral raise. So we're going to bring the arms out to the side. Doesn't matter if they come all the way up. Doesn't matter one little bit. So take them up as high as you can. And relax. And if you have like the physical therapy bands, those might be easier for you to work with because it doesn't, or if you got shoes on, that's probably helpful too. Don't feel like you're setting your foot on fire. Let's go 4 more here. We have 4 and 3. Get nice and strong through the middle as we lift up. We stay tall so we don't hinge forward as we do that. We're going to bring these back into center from here, and we're going to wrap it around. Now, if that doesn't feel like you've got enough, you can always wrap it through twice. You can shorten that up a bit as well. And mine's probably going to be a little short. So for me, this is also a little long. So I can also grab the band itself versus hanging onto the handles so that I can get a hold of it wherever I want. And all we're going to do is a chest press. So keeping that band behind us, we're going to come forward, and this time we're coming wide. So when we press from here, we've got the elbows coming back a little bit higher from there and pressing out. Now we want those to be ideally where if you're pushing forward, you're coming right across the middle of the chest. So usually we kind of comment on that as being basically across your nipple line as you're coming from center here. So now we're going to take just one arm. So hold the other arm out to keep the tension. Pushing from here. I don't know about you, but I'd still rather do this than push-ups some days. And let's switch sides from here. So pressing forward and forward. Good. We're shooting for a set of 8. So we have 4 to go here. And 3, 2, and our last one. So we'll go ahead and let that come back and down. We're going to grab it again from the front. Take this around in front of us. Now you can always grab both handles and use the end to pull off of if you prefer with that. You can shorten this back up. And again, if you're using one that has handles on it, you're going to want to put your hands through it so that you don't end up having them hanging all over your sides, because that gets to be really obnoxious. We're going to do a rear delt. So it's again standing and again centered nice and strong from here. We're going to pull these wide. So finding your position with that, you'll know after your first pull if you got it right. So opening out from here. All right, I didn't do too bad. and back from here. So our goal is to bring it back to our side, but we should still be able to see. We don't want to take them too far behind us. So think of leading out with the elbows as you do this. Squeeze it out. Nice and wide. Let's go 4 more here. Good. And our last one. Now, we're going to hold one arm out from here so that we've got good tension on it. We're going to pull with the other arm and pull. You're going to feel that in both arms. There is no getting around that. Good. Now, we're going to add to this just a little bit. Hold it back and pull. Just tiny pulses. You should definitely feel the fire pretty quick. We're 4, 3, 2, last one. So if you found yourself tightening up through the shoulders from here, roll those back around and loosen that back up again. We don't want that tension up between the shoulders. We're looking to get in the back of the shoulder blades. You'll definitely get into the traps as well, but we don't want to have that going way up into the neck. So again, when you're there, fire nice and strong through the center, head nice and tall, and your posture is good, right? So we're going to start with the other arm. Same thing from here. You know that I did that, right? Because you know that's how I figured out I needed to say something. Part of that's also where you hold your arms. So slightly below shoulder height is real good for that. Okay, now we're going to pulse over here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Bring that back in. And again, if you found yourself kind of rolling up in there, we're going to shorten that back up and roll them back and out from here. So we will take it this time into just simply a bicep curl. So we've worked a little bit around the shoulder height there, a little bit on the chest. So let's start working somewhat through the back. We're going to do a bicep curl. So those are pretty easy. And again, if you've got the bands that don't have handles on, just grab a breath. If I could spit it out, get a hold of a light grip on those as you come up through here and hold on to them. So we don't want any tighter grip than we absolutely have to have from here, because the forearm will wear out before the bicep does in a lot of cases. So if we can keep the hands a little more open or just a very light grip on it, that's going to be very helpful. Good. So rolling right through there, shoulders are back, keep those elbows close from here. And we have 2 more, and then we're gonna do the single arm. So from here, we'll take just one arm. We're gonna hold the other one up, so again, we've got that tension, right? So let that tuck right into your side. This, we get the tension all the way through, which is the nice thing about the bands. You get instant feedback. And just a couple more here. Okay, now we're gonna hold this one up, and we're gonna pulse it halfway down and up, just for a set of 8. Let's go 4 and 3, 2, and last one. Now hold that one. We're going to take the other arm back up from here. Being careful not to get that death grip on the hand, because as you start to get tired, what ends up happening a lot of times is we will grip the handle tighter, and that makes it a little bit harder, actually on the forearm. And that a lot of times will get tired before you actually get a chance to tire at that bicep. Okay, so we're going to pulse here. So coming up, halfway down. We have 4, 3, 2, and last one. Go ahead and let those back and down. So coming from the center here, as we come down, you can cross these over if you like. We're going to come into just a nice row. So we're not going to worry about the rear delts right now because we already did those. So we're actually going to row. So this is going to be close, and we're pulling back towards the hips. So again, try not to let those elbows come way back up. If you don't have enough tension on that, again, you can grab lower, or you can wrap the band around your feet a second time. For me, I'm just going to grab lower because it'll take me longer to switch the band out. So long, long line from here, from the top of the head out through the tailbone, and we are pulling the arms straight back towards the crease in our hips. We're going to go 4 more. Good. Trying to maintain a nice straight back. Now we're going to pull with just one arm only. Coming from here, and pull, and pull. Nice. We'll be able to start the lawnmower, right? Okay, now from here, pull and pull, just a little bit. And again, make sure the work is in the back at this point and not in your forearm and your wrist. It's 4, 3, 2, and hold. Then the other arm's gonna come down and pull, and come down and pull. So it's a little bit different angle than we have with the dumbbells most of the time, just simply because in this particular instance, you may be coming from the side a little bit, so you've got a little different angle with it. Okay, now we're gonna do that pulse. So pull and pull and pull. But we don't go all the way down, we're just going part way down. So we keep the tension on that lat muscle. We have 4, 3, 2, last one here. Let that come back down again. And you can step out of that and stand up back nice and tall. So we'll go into a piece for the tricep. There are a couple of different ways you can do this. I'm gonna take it overhead, which you're welcome to do that if you're comfortable with that. If you are not comfortable with that, what you can do is just come from here and do a tricep kickback. So again, adjusting kind of where the band is gonna be for you so that you've got the tension that you need on it. You can come from here and just push back. So think of leading with that pinky finger. You're gonna let that press back into that. So if you're not comfortable taking the arm up overhead to do this, then that's a nice alternative to it because there's more than one way to skin a cat. So if you're gonna take it overhead, again, we wanna grasp these, and we're gonna hold one arm back and down from here. So I will hold it behind me, if I get my hand away from my hair clip here. So I'm gonna hold that back and down on the back side of it from here. I'm gonna keep this elbow in close and I'm gonna press up. So again, don't hit your hair clip. Coming up from here. Press it straight up into the air is what we're looking for from there. And we create the tension by holding the band down with the other hand. So whichever version works for you is good. We are again trying to make sure that we don't let that elbow get out and away from us, but we also don't want to turn the head into that arm. So let's hold up at the top, pulse and pulse and pulse and pulse. So just a halfway mark. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and our last one. Then go ahead and bring that down. We're going to switch them out. So on this side, same thing. We're going to pull that back up. Make sure that we've got enough tension to make it worth our while here as we come into this. And again, pressing that up and press. And again, don't hit the hair clip. Lift and up. Nice strong piece straight to the ceiling. So you should feel the contraction as you straighten that arm up on the back of your arm, of course. And we are trying to stand tall. Keep that elbow to the ceiling. One more here, and then we're gonna pulse it. Coming down, down, just part way. We have 4, 3, 2, and last one. So that's a case of do as I say, not as I do. I wore a great big hair clip, so of course that doesn't suit my purpose the way I would like. And I should keep my hands in here. We're gonna go back to the back again. So this time we are working more into the lats, a little bit less up into the upper shoulder blades here as we get into it. We're gonna do a pull down, and that's basically all that we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with the hands up overhead, and we're gonna pull the band down in front of us. So we don't need this to go back behind the head. It should come, stays close to you, and comes right down in front. So yeah, I guess you probably can't see the band, but I'm trying not to let that get too far away from me. So I don't want my arms to be out here and pull down. We can, but that's not what we're looking for right now. Right now we're looking to keep that just right up across the top of the chest. Good, good, good. We have 4 more, then we're gonna do this with one arm. And 3. Here's 2. And our last one. Now holding it up. First, we're gonna take one at a time, so this is gonna feel a little weird. You're gonna definitely get work in both arms. Well, should be both sides of the back, right? But you're gonna feel that in your arm as well. Okay, now what we're really looking to fire is right through here. So as we get into the pulses, make sure that you're feeling it back through here and not just into the tricep and the back of the arm, but we want to feel that right through this part of our back as we get into that piece. So we just have the pulses left on this side. We're going to pulse and pulse and pulse. It's 4, 3, 2, and our last one. Bringing that back up again, making sure we've got enough tension. We're going to pull it down and back and down and back up. So it doesn't need to come all the way to your side. If you've got range of motion for that, that's terrific, but it doesn't have to come all the way out. If you can pull it all the way down, that's fantastic. We have 2 more. Should have showed that on the other arm so they'd be even. Okay, now we're gonna pulse out here. So pulse and pulse and pulse and pulse. One more, and let that go from there. So we're gonna release this for just a second. Shake out those hands, both sides there. And again, just release the wrists, roll them around just a little bit. So if you do have a tendency to kind of grip those a little tight, which I think all of us do at certain points in there, just try and be aware of that as you work with the band. We're gonna start from here with just a squat. So we're just gonna sit back and stand tall. So our goal, of course, is to get the butt down. So as we sit through here, the rear end goes back and down as we sit into place here. So we're gonna do just a little bit of work on the downside of this as well. So kind of along the same lines of what we've been doing as far as getting into the full range of motion, then doing one at a time and then doing some pulses. But we're gonna start with pulses before we do single legs. Let's go 4 more. We have 4 and 3, good. Here's 2. Now stay down. We're gonna pulse. So just a partial range with this. We're gonna do 8 more. So we sink down, halfway, halfway up, good. So we're just really keeping the tension into those legs. 4, 3, 2, last one, come back up nice and strong. So shake those legs out just a little bit. We're gonna do the same thing into a lunge position from here. So as we move into this, and I'm gonna turn sideways so that you can see, as we move into our lunge, we're gonna step the leg back, but we'd like to go back. Keep this knee over the ankle, and when we come down, we're not looking to push forward onto that knee so much as we are looking to come down. So when we go down, that knee remains pretty firm over the ankle, and we'll just come down and up from here. Again, working within your range of motion for whatever is comfortable, and at this point, we're keeping the chest lifted. We're 4 and 3. And 2, and then again, we're going to come into those pulses here. So we're pulsing down and down and down and down. Let's go 8 more here. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Bring that back in. Shake those legs out, and we're going to turn around. Thankfully, we only have 1 more leg. Again, we're going to step this back so that we've got enough distance in between us here that this knee can go where it belongs as we come down and up. Using, again, that foot to make sure that we've got that tripod. So both of the toes, the big toe and little toe, are on the floor. And we've got the heel pushing off. I believe we have 2 more. And then we're going to move into those pulses from here. So stand down and down. And breathe with it. We have 8 more. We're 4, 3, 2, and our last one. So stepping back up out of that. Again, just kind of shake those legs out just a little bit. And we are just going to, again, move through here a little and open back up. We're going to move down towards the floor. Well, actually on the floor, not towards the floor. We're going to move down to the floor. And we're going to work back into some work on the side of the hips and the abs. And We might do a little bit more chest work, but we'll see as we see how much time I have. I'm gonna move my camera, so if it makes you dizzy, obviously I don't want you to look at that. Give me just a sec. And coming back from there, I think you should be able to see. All right, so what we will do here is we're just gonna come down to the floor any way you can get down there and any way that's comfortable for you. And we're gonna come, let's start off, let's do the cat and cow first. So let's start on all fours. So from here again, if this is uncomfortable for you to do, you can do this laying down as well. You can also do it standing. So we're gonna start with the cat and cow first. So we're just gonna kind of sink back and let the back sway down. We're keeping the arms directly under the shoulders, knees directly under the hips and everything. So we're gonna take a nice big exhale and we're gonna round up, pushing that floor away, widening out through their shoulders, tucking the pelvis under, and a nice big breath up. We're gonna tip the tailbone towards the ceiling, take the collarbones towards the ceiling and look up. So the work here is in the spine. Ceiling from here. And let's go just 2 more. And one more time. And relax from there. So we're going to come back onto our rear end to begin with. We're going to grab our band and make sure that your dumbbells are close enough that you can get a hold of them. So I'm going to grab mine real quick. Lean back, thank you. So we're going to work the legs first. We want to make sure that our equipment is out of our way as far as your range of motion for your legs. We're going to start with the band from here. I'm going to bring that back around the foot. I am going to pull this wad of hair out here and lay back down. So as we come from here, we've got one leg up into the air, and a flat band, of course, is always nicer for this particular piece. This leg can either be bent or you can extend. That is purely a personal preference. What we're going to do from here is just press down. Bring this back up against resistance. So don't just let that bounce back up. I know it feels great to just let her kind of swing back up, but we're trying to actually keep tension all the way through here. So again, be nice and strong through the middle, but we want to fire this entire back. So as much as we can keep that leg straight, we want to do that. We also want to keep enough tension on it to make it worth our while. So it shouldn't be super, super easy to press that leg down. You should feel those muscles both in the behind and the back of your leg, pulling that back and down. So we're going to do 4 more, then you know, of course, we're going to pulse it, right? So as we do that, we want to be conscious also of making sure we don't just let go in the middle. So we're going to pulse here. So pulse and pulse and pulse, pulse. We have 4, 3, 2. Now let that come back up and let's just take an easy stretch. So this time let those arms come out wide and let that open back up. And we're going to come off to the side from here. So this again is not going to be a huge movement, but we're coming sideways with that, almost a 45-degree angle. And it again depends on how much tension that you're putting in there. You're going to feel this on the outside of that hip. And the leg doesn't need to go directly sideways. Again, like I said, we're going to be probably about a 45-degree angle out to the side. Good. And one more time. So as we come down here, we're going to pulse the leg right here. Not a position we're in real often, right? At least not willingly. There's 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to again bring that back up. And this time we're going to let this come across. Gently coming down. Roll that leg over. And you can control that with the band, so you can pull that leg a little higher toward the shoulder if you wish. Open that hip up a little more and open up the low back. And then we'll bring that back into the center. Because I'm lazy, we're gonna cheat. We're just gonna bring the other foot inside and let this foot come down wherever you want it to be. Again, that can be on the ground, it can be bent. That's your preference from there. We're gonna hang on with the hands from here. We're gonna pull that back and just get a gentle little stretch to begin with, trying to straighten that leg as much as we can. So think of leading with the heel. We're gonna bring this down and coming up. Now you can leave the arms up and out if you want, or you can just bring them down and hold on to it just so you've got a good firm hold on it and maybe a little bit more tension that way. We of course want to breathe with that too. This is the best way to do deadlifts, right? Lay it on your back. And again, we resist as we come back up. Don't just let it pull right back up. Now, one more time as we come down from here, we're gonna do those pulses, right? So pulse, and pulse, and pulse, and pulse. We have 4 more. 4, and 3, and 2. Last one, go ahead and bring that back up just for a gentle stretch from here. We can let those arms come back out. And also just that band to a more comfortable position. Now again, we're gonna go this time out to the side. So it's not actually directly to the side, but it's gonna be more like a 45-degree angle as we come across. We're trying to keep this hip down at the same time. So if you need to press this leg into the floor, please do so. You can also take your opposite hand out to keep yourself from rolling, which isn't our goal anyway. We're just trying to push out with that leg versus trying to roll ourselves over. We have 2 to go here. And let's hold this one, pulling down, 2, 3, 2, and last one. Now again, grabbing with the opposite hand, we're gonna let this come across. And actually we can hold it the same hand. We're gonna look out in the opposite direction. And coming back to middle. So we can let that foot come out, relax from there. We will do just a set of chest flies and some pullovers here because we're going to put that together with the dead bug piece here. So we're going to start with the weights if you have them. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. You can do this just by tightening up the muscle from here. We're going to slowly come back out, hover right above the floor, and we're going to squeeze the chest and bring this right back into center. We're going to come back out from here and squeeze very gently into the center. I shouldn't say gently because we want that contraction. So as you exhale, pull that back, squeeze that chest, open back up, resisting on the way down, and squeeze again. We're going to do 4 more like this. And here's 3. We got 2. And our last ones. Okay, so we'll put the weights to the side for just a second. Go ahead and bring these down. We're going to come into just a regular bridge from here. So bringing that heels in, we're going to go ahead and slide the hips up. And we're going to release down from here. Pressing up from here, nice and easy. Back and lift. So now when we come down, we're going to open the knees and lift. We're going to hover above the floor. So we're not going to go ahead and drop the butt all the way down, ideally. We're going to kind of roll to the outside of the foot a bit and open those knees apart so they come out just like we did with the fly. Squeeze the thighs back together and open and out. So when you do that, we aren't actually pulling the legs back together where the knees knock from here. We're just opening out to the side as far as we can. We've got that tension because the butt's still lifted, so we've got more tension on the outside of the hips here, and we bring that back to the neutral position into that bridge. So, we're gonna put them together. We've got the weights from the center here. We are going to go ahead and we're gonna come up. So as we come out, we open out with the knees and the hands. So again, keeping the butt off the floor, you can stay up or you can come down and up and down and up. So that is your preference, whether you want to drop the hips and then come back up, or if you just want to open the legs from the top position, that's okay too. Let's go 4 and 3. Here's 2 and our last one. And go ahead and bring that back down. So the one thing I probably should have mentioned before we got onto that as well is to make sure that the weight stays onto the upper shoulders here and doesn't come on back into your neck and your head so much. So we're moving again into the part with the dead bug. So we have two options here. One is we can slide the leg out and slide the leg back in. We actually have more than 2 options, but these are the ones I'm going to show. Coming down from here and back in and out and back in. Now, if you feel you have better control doing that than you do lowering and lifting the leg, please stay with that slide, because this is the area that we are working the most through here, and that's the part that we're trying to target. So if you feel that this coming up and back, you're just getting more into the hip flexor and your pelvis is rocking back and forth, stay with the slide, because you may get a lot more work in the middle just from the slide than you're going to get from that lift and lower. So I'm going to demo both. We are going to, again, take the arms overhead from here, bringing it up, and coming back. So this is, again, just like somebody's got a sandbag on our belly here, so we're not going to let that back pop up. We're not letting the belly rise up, and the rib cage stays nice and firm. So we're going to push down with the ribs, but of course we're still going to breathe, right? Here. And one more time. So the key factor is we're going to take the opposite arm and the opposite leg. So we're only going to need one weight. I'm going to take the back arm and I'm going to take this front leg from here. So I am going to place my fingertips right here or off to the side, wherever I feel I've got better balance here. But here I want to make sure that I don't let go and let that belly pop up. So I'm going to take a nice breath in. I'm going to extend overhead as I extend that leg, and I'm going to come back into center. And I'm going to stay with just this side. So backing in. And I want that contraction every time I come back in. I want to get a little bit more out of that. Now you can, of course, lower the leg and bring that back up, but don't come too far back, because again, we don't want that pelvis rocking. It's just like some pressing down and knitting the ribs together at the same time. We have 4 and 3. Here's 2. And the last one here. Relax that back. So we'll start with the opposite side, and again, we're going to do the same thing, where we're going to bring that leg and just slide it to begin with. You pick and choose wherever you want to start with it. And we're going to, again, making sure that we're not rocking. So we want to extend, draw back in, and extend, and pull it back through. So the arm also is not going onto the floor, because we want to keep that tension as much as we can. This is one of those exercises, the slower the better. And if you want to extend, you can always extend, but again, making sure we keep that work right in the middle. If it shifts to your hip flexor, go back to the slide, because you shouldn't have that same problem. We're going to do 8 more here. And with each time, again, knitting those ribs just a little closer together. So we actually can make that tension build as we come through here. Let's go 2 more. And relax that back and down from there. So we are going to come around to a seated position. Coming back up onto one side from here. So on this particular position here, you can either have the hands off to the side from here, or you can bring them into the middle. The bigger thing that we're looking for is that we stay lifted here. So we don't want to sink down and around everything out. We're going to stay lifted. So we're going to do a couple of pieces with this leg on the outside from here. We're working into this hip, and that's why it's so important for us to stay strong in the middle from here. So this leg is where we're going to lift and lower and lift and lower. Our goal initially the first time through here is to have both the knee and the ankle on the same plane. So it's like you've laid it down onto a shelf, right? So we're just going to lift it up and lower it down. Squeeze and release. And again, long length through here. You're going to be leaning into that a little bit most likely. I don't have the strength to pull that up from a full seated position or the flexibility. Let's go 4 and then 3. Here's 2 and our last one. Now we're going to relax the knee to the floor from here. We're going to lift the ankle and back and lift that ankle up. So it's coming off the floor and rotating forward. So you will feel that shift in the hip as you bring that foot up, but keep the knee down for right now. We have 4 more of these, and 3, 2, the last one there. So we'll go ahead and keep that ankle down. This time we lift the knee. So this is our clamshell, right? We're coming and just lifting up with the clamshell and opening from here. Squeeze it out and release and lift and lower. We have 4 and 3, 2 to go, and hold it right there. Now we're just going to come over here for a nice long stretch over the top, and coming back and very gently bringing that back through, kind of just a mini version of a mermaid. And again, you take that and hold as long as you wish with it. You don't have to go back and forth so much. If you're like, this feels really great, stay here for a minute. Vice versa, we're going to do one more if you are moving with it. And coming from here. Then we're also just going to come forward from here and we're going to reach. So this is just a small stretch here on the, obviously the bottom leg, I call the bottom leg, where your rear end's on the ground. And it's just a very, very small movement from there. Coming back and up again, we are going to switch sides. So as we're coming from here, same rules apply. We're still trying to stay nice and tall. We're going to try and get this leg off the ground nice and level as we lift that back up. We will lean into this a little bit, forward or back, whichever feels better to you. For me, this side seems to feel better, this particular position. And again, chest is lifted. We're going to lift that leg up and come down and lift. You may very well notice that one side comes higher than the other and one side is a lot easier than the other. That's normal. Don't worry about it. It gets better. That's why we do all this, right? So we can get better, stronger, faster. Let's go 4 more. And 3. Here's 2. And the last one. Now again, keeping that knee anchored this time, we're going to lift that heel up and come back down. So lifting it up towards the ceiling. And we're trying not to shift way forward as we do that, but to let that action happen right here. It's not a very big movement at all. We're going to do 4 more there. And 3, 2, and our last one. Okay, now from here, keeping the ankle down, we're going to go ahead and lift that back up. So this is our clamshell. Again, it's not necessarily going to come up all the way. Depending upon how tight you are, you may be able to get it up more, but we're trying not to roll way backwards here as we come into it, but to stay lifted. Let's go 4 more of these. Good. And the last one here, we're going to let that come down. So again, let's just take an easy stretch across the top. And again, if that feels good there, hang out. If you want to go back and forth, go back and forth too. Sometimes it just depends on the day, right? Some things feel good and other days they just don't. Let's go 1 more like this. Let her go. And then we're going to come to that position from the front. Now again, you just place this leg back wherever it is comfortable for you. We're going to come to the front and we're just going to lean. And we're looking to actually stretch more of the hip on this side, obviously. as we're leaning forward into that. You may get a stretch depending on how tight you are. I'm like a brick today, so my hips are still real tight. And we're gonna come back up to center. So we will come from here for just a gentle stretch. So we're gonna bring the feet together, the soles of the feet together if we can, and sit tall. Now, clearly, my knees are not gonna go to the ground, but this is our kind of goal here. Use those elbows and actually soften those knees down towards the floor. Let's sit nice and tall in this position from here. And keeping that chest lifted, you can lean forward just a little bit into that. And then if that feels okay to you, then you can begin to kind of soften and around a little bit, tucking the chin slightly. And then coming back and up from that position. So from here, we're gonna just reach forward and see if we can touch the toes. If you can, actually put your hands onto your toes. We're gonna use those toes and push them forward and pull back and push them forward and pull back and actually get some work up through the shoulders. If that doesn't work for you, that's okay too. If you can just reach forward from here. Again, think of hinging from the hips instead of rounding out so much, but actually just sitting tall first. Take that as far as you can. Flex your feet back towards you. See if you can touch those toes. You can reach them at all. Again, if you can, we're going to press forward with the toes. Relax those shoulders. We'll come back and we're going to stretch the back of the legs, right? So use the hands to pull back on those toes. And then we use the toes to resist and push forward. Get a stretch on the shoulders. Coming back, we're going to do one more of those. Stretching from here. And back into the center. And we'll go ahead and come back up. So we're going to take this leg across the top. And if you're not comfortable bringing the leg up and over, you can always just place one hand onto the outside of the opposite leg. All we're going to do is set really tall and come back and around into a gentle twist. If you've got the leg, you can actually grab a hold of that. You can go ahead and come over. Actually, I'm going the wrong way, right? Yes, I'm going the wrong way. Let's go this direction. Coming from here. Sit nice and tall. I don't know why that was a question for me, but obviously it clearly was. So we're going to go same thing on the opposite side. So grab a hold with the opposite arm. We sit up tall and we're going to rotate back and around. And then back into center from here. Let's just bring the knees in. Give ourselves just a nice gentle break. Relax that back. We're going to sit back up nice and tall, and we're going to stand up any way that we can. So ideally, we're trying not to use the hands, right? Which I already did when I pulled myself